Today, in part one of a four-part series, we visit Cedar Electric opposite Brighton City Airport and investigate the alternative to main dealer repairs. Customer Duncan Saw recently had major work carried out by Cedar Electric to his Model S. Managing Director Kevin Pearce details the services they can provide and explains a bit about their history. First of all, Kev, what's behind the name Cedar Electric?
Cedar Electric is a branch off from our existing garage, which is Cedar Garage. Cedar Garage has been running since 1982. Matt and I took it over in 2013 and then continued to grow that business. We now have two sites for Cedar Garage, one site that specialises in German vehicles, another site that works on as a generic garage but also specialises in Jaguar Land Rover. From that, we've always been very specialist in what we do. We operate dealer equipment so that we still have full capabilities that the main dealers have, but we can do that with what we believe is much better customer service. We're one of the best reviewed garages in the country, and we've actually won UK Top Garage twice for our efforts and the team's efforts. Everything really is down to the team. We've got a great culture. Our guys are dedicated to constantly learn, constantly improve and constantly impress. So Cedar Electric was formed from that constant sort of drive to push forward and make sure that we stay ahead of the industry. So in May 22, we formed Cedar Electric as a sort of trial just to see what sort of leads we'd get through, what sort of work would come through, and what demand there was for that level of service. We've then seen more and more from that there's a huge demand for high voltage component repairs. The manufacturer's repair process is always to replace. And whether that's on a Tesla, a BMW, a Jaguar, Land Rover, it's always expensive. An exchange battery on a Model S is over £14,000. Our overhaul process starts at £5,000. So huge difference there, and that's taken us the best part of 2 years or 18 months to come up with a solid overhaul that we're proud of, that we can actually warranty because it's a tried and tested model that we've been doing for a long period of time.
Working on EVs, obviously very technical, special high voltage qualifications.
Yes.
I get the impression in the UK there can be a shortage of good technical staff.
Yeah.
So how are you solving that problem?
That's not just a problem with high voltage vehicles, that's a problem in the trade generally. There is a skills shortage, and it's been an ongoing problem for a long time. I think the best bit of advice for any garage, and it's not just our industry, it's across the board, you have to train from within. So at Cedar, we've always had a steady flow of apprentices. We take on at least 2 or 3 apprentices every single year. We currently have 5 at the moment. Reason for that, we need people that understand our way of working, and we can then inspire them to want to do more and do better. If we just worked and hoped that if when someone naturally moves on in their life, whether they've moved away or whatever, if they do move on from our company and we have to go and try and find someone else to fit in place, it's extremely hard to do so. The skill sets simply are not there. The level of work that we're doing here, there isn't a training course necessarily for that. There's a training course for how to do it safely, but there isn't a training course in how to actually physically carry out these repairs necessarily, because there's no rule book. It's all new. It's down to us to have people that are hungry enough to want to learn that, and it just comes down to hours and hours and hours of trial and error.
Is there much interest amongst young people to get their hands dirty and get into fixing cars of whatever type?
Yes and no. So I call them unicorns. So we actually have a partnership with our local college to help us try and find suitable candidates for our apprenticeship programme. They can help us find the correct candidates. So, there's certain people that are suited in certain environments. We need people that are dedicated to learn. There's a lot of time that will go into learning certain processes. So we need to know that people they want this for the long haul. There are always people out there. You've just got to make sure you know where you're looking and offer them what they need as well. So we can't just, and this goes for the trade in general, you've got to inspire people to want to come into this trade. And I don't think there's been enough inspiration over the last 10 years for people to want to come and join the trade. I do think there's a shift. I think with the way that the technology is going, as you can see from this place, it's not turn up to work wearing overalls covered in grease and going home with oil everywhere. There's nothing under these fingernails anymore. So it's not just, there's a much cleaner environment from an EV point of view for sure.
I guess the tricky bit is once you've put all that training invested in the young guys coming through,
Yep.
and girls, I guess.
Yep.
Maybe the difficult bit is retaining them, especially if BYD start doing mass recruitment.
When it comes to retaining staff, it's about the culture that you create. We believe in our business that we have a great culture. We look after our team, put it that way. So we pay well, we give them a nice working environment. We try and make sure that we understand everyone, we have constant meetings, we make sure that everyone's happy. In our mind, there's no such thing as a problem, whether it comes down to a Tesla battery or a staffing issue where they may have other things going on in their lives. Well, if we feel we can help, we'll offer to help. Yeah. And I think the difference with if BYD do come in, the same as Tesla, I mean, even Tesla, huge company, millions, billions of pounds, they have staffing issues themselves. BYD are going to come in, they're going to try and poach staff, but why would you leave a company where you're very happy if all they can do is throw money at you? I feel we're safe. Some garages may need to improve the culture within, but I feel that we're safe because of the way that we look after our team.
So you're not just investing in the young people coming into the business. Just while we're here today, you've got 3 brand new ramps going in. That shows quite a commitment to the future of electric vehicles as far as you're concerned.
Yeah.
And I guess with electric vehicles coming out of warranty, that's quite a big kind of boom area for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got varied leads coming through. We're seeing more and more. Some are where people are just inquiring. They're thinking about buying an electric vehicle and they want to know how much a battery repair would be. You know, Cedar Electric currently is a 4-man team. It's hard to channel all of our time in the right directions. We need to make sure that we're staying ahead of technology whilst also trying to keep every customer happy. So it's trying to channel the time between the leads and the work. At the same time, we have to make sure that our offering is beneficial to the end consumer. So you'll be speaking to Duncan later, a customer of ours with a Model S. He was offered an exchange battery at £14,000 with a 4-year warranty.
Basically, my car very suddenly died. It came up with a very dramatic warning message saying there was a major fault with the high voltage battery. The car then stopped working. Eventually got it to our local Tesla service centre, who said it needed a new battery. The car was just out of warranty, so I then had the option of either getting a new battery from Tesla or effectively scrapping the car. Problem was, being an 8-year-old car, the value of the car didn't really justify a new battery pack. So I then started looking around for alternative options, and via the Tesla owners Facebook group, I came across someone who had mentioned there was this company, Cedar Electric, who could potentially fix the battery. I then got in touch with Kevin. He sounded pretty confident. So yeah, decided to get the car brought down to Cedar.
Are you aware of how much degradation there had been on the battery?
Yes, there had been about 8%, I think, something like that. So not a huge amount. I was quite surprised actually that for an 8-year-old battery pack, it was still performing so well. And in fact, what I had expected was that the performance of the battery would slowly degrade over time, and that the range would just gradually get less and less. What I was hoping wouldn't happen was that there would be a catastrophic failure. Turns out what had happened was that water had got into the pack. It does seem there's a bit of an issue. It can get into the Tesla 2015 model battery packs, which obviously isn't ideal. I'd obviously try to argue my corner with Tesla to say, look, this shouldn't have happened, but it was out of warranty. I didn't have any sort of consumer rights, so obviously they weren't particularly interested in fixing it themselves.
So how much did they quote for a new battery?
They gave me 2 options. One was a refurbished battery, including VAT would have been about 14,000, or a new battery option was going to be, I think, about 19, something like that. Maybe an 18 and a half, 19. Yeah.
Can you remember what sort of warranty those 2 types of options would have had?
They offered a 4-year warranty with both options. I can't say I was, hugely tempted by the offer, but if it had come to the crunch, it's possible that 4-year warranty might have swung it for me. I think they would have had to source it from the Netherlands. They were talking about a 3-week lead time.
So have you got any sort of rough guidance from Cedar Electric as to how much module changing they've done and what range you might get at 100% in the summer?
I'm hoping that now it's been through the process of having a couple of modules replaced. Obviously, the BMS has been reprogrammed, the cells have been balanced up. So I'm hoping that I'll notice a bit of performance increase.
Are you comfortable with telling us how much the bill was?
Yeah, so the initial quote for not replacing any of the modules was about £5,000. 2 modules had to be replaced, they were about £1,000 each. There was then some other work that needed doing on the car, including suspension, a couple of tyres. So while it was here, I thought it was worth doing. So that was another couple of £1,000 worth. So it came in under 10,000. I was happy with that, considering it would have obviously been considerably more for the replacement battery. Plus, Tesla would have obviously charged me more than Cedar would have done. I would imagine to have done the extra work. So as far as I was concerned, it was worth getting it all done while it was here.
So as far as you know, the fact that a non-Tesla organisation has worked on the high voltage, that shouldn't cause a problem for future supercharging, free supercharging.
As far as I know, at Cedar they've been able to reprogram it. It wouldn't have been possible to change the modules and have those accepted had they not been able to actually get into the diagnostics of the system and reprogram it.
So what you've got now is you've got a car with a really properly reconditioned battery. Cedar, they've been through every single module, so 2 were replaced, and the ones that are staying in, they've had a good health check.
They've been rebalanced. In theory, should be okay to keep going. Yeah.
Duncan, thank you very much, and many hundreds of miles of happy motoring to you. Thanks for your help.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Managing Director Kevin Pearce and customer Duncan Saw. Join us next time in part 2 when Kevin discusses repairing components rather than employing the parts cannon. Don't forget to press the subscribe button, as it really helps us to grow the channel.